If this horse gets to the races, make sure you bet on it each way. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, lot 105. We're going to have a crack. John's going to have a crack at this one. The gates are about to open. Fingers crossed. Let's see if we can grab this lovely Savabeel colt. Let's go and have a look what's going on.
You right, Nick?
I'm good, mate. Good luck. How you feeling? You all right?
Oh, probably got not enough, but we'll have a crack.
Nervous?
Nah, I never worry about it. It is what it is.
True, bro. We're just about to get up and running. 120 is the opening bid. 100. Yes! Here we go, we're away.
Sebastian.
What's he doing?
Yes!
That's us, Mick.
We're in.
Yes!
We're at 250 now. We're at 250. Come on, slow down.
Yes!
That's us.
300?
Yep.
We're at 300. We're in front. The post is looming. They're coming at us, but we might hold on here. Come on, get that gabble down, Jonathan. Come on, knock it down. Come on. Come on. We're shortening stride, come on. Come on. Where's that bloody gabble? Oh, you bugger. You bugger. We might go for a little, it's 325, the bid's against us. John's thinking. We've gone. We've gone to three. We're in at 350, it's us. That's 350. John really likes his colt. My heart is racing, it's not even my money. I think we've been knocked out at 360.
Just got knocked out.
Knocked out at 360. We've run second. It was a good second. A good second. Back us next start.
Sorry, Michael.
Nah, mate, nah. Bloody hell. Nah, we're out. We're out. We're out. We're off and running lot 116. Filly by I'm Invincible. I think are we in the running? I'm not sure. I'm just seeing if John's holding the bid here. 225's the bid. John's just had a go. We're in front of 300, ladies and gentlemen. Lot 116. Lovely filly by I'm Invincible. I think we might be out. I think we might be out now, ladies and gentlemen. It's gone too much. No, the boys are out. The boys are out. Can I say bugger? Bugger. It's gone for 4. Oh, we've gone again. We've gone again. We had another nibble at 500. We had another crack at 500, out at 550. The boys are quickly deciding. Over here. No, we're gone. Another good second. We've just had a bit of luck. John's just secured a beautiful done deal filly on behalf of Mr. Ron Finnemore.
Finally got one.
Good on you, mate.
I was very happy for Ron. We bought a filly that was very high up on our list, yes. And you know, we paid about what we thought she'd make, so it's got a great residual value, but it's just a filly that I want to run in oakses and things like that, and we're looking forward to the next 18 months with her.
So lovely done deal filly, bred by Arrowfield.
Bred by Arrowfield, you know, don't get any better than that, and it's a half to a stakes horse, got a Group 1 winner on the page, all the things that we like to see.
Excited?
Very.
There should be some excited owners out there too. John, does this feel like your post-match after you've had a big game of football many years ago? After the game, you scored the winning try.
I wish I would have. Not quite as good.
Well done, mate. Congratulations.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Let's go and have a chat with Ron. He's pretty excited. A very special at the stables welcome to a very special man, Mr. Ron Finnemore, great supporter of the O'Shea stable. Welcome to At the Stables, Ron.
Thank you.
Great to be here at the sales.
Yeah, it always is. I enjoy the sales. I enjoy the work beforehand, looking at the horses. I enjoy, I do three things. I work, I spend some time with my family and the horses. My family reckons the horses come before them. But, I enjoy it. I've been a long-time supporter of John's. And, in fact, the first horse I offered him, he wouldn't take. So we've had a fair few since then, a lot, actually. So yeah, I enjoy it. I've enjoyed the sales. I enjoy going through the horses, going through the breeding, looking at them with John, then doing my Tessio ratings, and then deciding, and then generally losing bidder on most.
Well, that's what they say in the racing. You've got to lose some before you get the win and the thrill. And just now, congratulations, bought a beautiful done deal filly.
Yeah, well, I haven't got any done deals, so that's a first for me. But she was a nice filly. We picked out some fillies that I wanted to buy this time to race and then add to my breeding group of mares and gradually upgrade the quality of that. So we've gone through the catalogue and selected what we wanted to do, and up until that one today we've been losing bidder, but that one we've got and I'm very happy with it.
On the wall at 320, hammers up, I sell her at 320, all done. Thank you, Laura Winks, 320,000. John O'Shea buys. Thank you, John O'Shea.
Was there anything in particular that stood out to you about her?
Oh yeah, she had number one, she had a good page. Number two, she was a good walker. She came up very well in my Tessio ratings, which I look at on everything. So she passed John's test, she passed my test, and she passed the vet's test. So they got to get through the three, and we were lucky enough to end up buying her. 300 was my limit, but we went
a bit more.
Went one more, always the case. One more bid.
That's okay.
So no, very happy.
Well, that's when the emotion kicks in, Ron. And just the other day we were talking. You told me that when you're watching your horses race, every time they race, and you've had many racing, you get a little bit nervous before each race, which is beautiful. You get nervous when you're bidding on these expensive yearlings.
Yeah, both. And a trainer of mine that's retired in Wagga, Dave Hayward, said to me, because I had 4 seconds in a row with John, you might remember a few weeks ago, and my daughter said to me, Dad, it's better than running last. And I said, and Dave Hayward said, there's nothing takes the place of the excitement of winning. And that's really the case. That's what we're all in it for, is the fun and the excitement of winning. And being involved with good people. I really enjoy John and his team and the jockeys he has, and Tom and everybody at the stable. So it's a good, fun environment.
Well, it's great to see you here, Ron. It's great to see you enjoying yourself. I hope you have many more winners, and let's hope this filly's a Group 1 winner. So thanks once again for spending some time with us at the stables, Ron.
No worries. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Did you know that horses' ears have the ability to rotate at 180 degrees? So be careful what you say around the stables. Here at Riverside, Day 2, at the stables welcomes Jason Abrahams. Good morning, Jason.
Morning, Michael. How are you?
I'm really well, mate, and I wanted to talk to you about champion thoroughbreds today. And let's start with how you got involved. But even before that, growing up as a little boy, your father would often take you to the races, and you virtually grew up with one of these catalogues in your hand.
Yeah, that's right, Michael. My father was a good mate of a trainer at Rose Hill, the late Ray Guy, and often found myself wandering around the stable of an afternoon, and they became virtually family friends. So my introduction to horses was way back when I was 7, 8 years of age, and spent my school holidays during Easter at the Easter sales every year.
That's a strong pedigree there, Jason. So we move forward to around about maybe 2009, 2010. You'd been friends with John O'Shea for a long time. Yeah. And a phone call from John started Champion Thoroughbreds.
Yeah, it was a bit of a distress call. He had an issue with a syndicator who'd bought a dozen horses, and then the syndicator took off with the money, basically, and John was left with 12 horses that were going to be repossessed, and he wanted to go to the sales companies to request that they not repossess the horses due to the look for the industry and the financial situation of those new owners. And not trusting anyone at that stage because of what had happened, he asked whether I could help him and start a syndication business of our own, and maybe we could tell that story to the sales companies and see if we could get it off the ground from there, which, for me was an interesting question. It wasn't something I was looking to do, but as it turns out, we agreed to put something together, and from that point, we started Champion.
That is a great story. And you mentioned that word trust, Jason, and there's obviously the trust between you and John. But I see the way that you run the business. I see the way you look after your clients, the way that you care about your purchases. That to me is the theme of Champion Thoroughbreds.
Yeah, well, I think it all started with that first conversation with John, and for me it struck a note. Growing up in the industry and attending all the sales, I felt there was a lot of new entrants to the industry who may not have been looked after, or their money may not have been cared for in the way that I would have liked to have done it. And not that I ever saw an avenue for me to do that, but when that phone call came through, it kind of struck a chord, and I thought, well, maybe this is the way I can, lend my contribution and look after potential entrants in the industry.
Well, mate, it worked because you hit the ground running. Early on, you've had a Group 1 winner with a Subrasive.
Yeah, no, he was great. So he was amongst that first group of horses that John didn't want to lose back to the sales companies, and he said from day one, I remember the first parade that he had, and he said to the audience, "This is my Derby horse." And Greg Radley was there at the time, and he held John to it. He didn't win the Derby, but he did run in the Derby and he ran very well. But he did win the Rose Hill Guineas the start before. So I guess the prophecy almost came true to a large degree.
Well, speaking of the Derby, you've had the fantastic success recently with the Lions Royal winning the Randwick Guineas, and he's racing in the Derby coming up now. And as discussed, by the time this goes to air, that race will be over. But it just must be very satisfying to have horses of that calibre running in these blue ribbon races.
Yeah, look, I think it's a great tick for what we do and how we do it. He was a $65,000 yearling out of New Zealand, Book 2. So to be able to present those kind of horses to our clients, and as you've seen at the sales this week, where the average yesterday was $370,000, everyone's striving to have a horse in a race like that. And we've got one this Saturday, and we've paid, a sixth of what they're going for here. So I think being able to give people who don't have massive budgets an opportunity to race in once-in-a-lifetime Group 1s is really what the experience is all about. And, win, lose or draw on the weekend, the owners have had an experience of a lifetime, which I'll never forget.
Absolutely, Jason. And in closing, I'm going to ask you two questions. You can answer them in either order, or you might group it together. What excites you about Champion Thoroughbreds, and what's your vision for Champion Thoroughbreds looking into the future?
I think I'd probably meld those two questions together with one answer, Michael. I think what we're doing is what I want to see us doing into the future. Being able to provide a trusted company and avenue for owners who don't know much about racing, don't know much about pedigrees and prices, and to be able to give them an inlet into horse racing and know that they're going to get looked after the whole way through. The management that we have is well experienced, so we'll make the best decisions that we can, and if we can get that decision right more often than not, then that's the best that most people can hope for, and if they have a great horse along the way, that's even better.
That's great, Jason. I think that the formula works. We know that. I'm one of your loyal supporters and fans now, so all the best for the remainder of the sale, and all the best for the horses going forward.
Appreciate it.
And thanks for spending some time here with us today.
No, anytime. Thank you very much for the interview, and let's get back amongst it and see if we can buy something.
Let's go.
Okay, thank you.
Racing game. The racing game. The racing game.
Thank you. When was the first horse race?
First horse race. Well, we know the Romans had racing of their chariots. We also know they had some flat racing too with their horses. But to actual racing with prize money goes back to King Richard I, Richard the Lionheart, who actually had a purse of £40 in one of their races. £40 back then in the 11th century.
Wow.
And that's why it's called the sport of kings. A very special at the stables welcome to Jonathan Darcy, General Manager and Bloodstock Operations, William Inglis and Sons. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you, Michael. It's very nice to have you here on such an auspicious occasion, the 2021 Australian Yearling Sale.
Big occasion for you always.
Oh, look, it is. This is the culmination of, what for breeders has been probably 18 months of seeing these horses fold and growing up in their paddocks. We go around probably in sort of July, August and see them for the first time, and then they enter them in our sales. And then from there, we make our selections. Some of the horses come here to Easter. Other horses might go to the Magic Millions. Others go to Classic and to Premier. But they're put in sales where we think they can perform to their best. And fortunately today we've seen some very good results.
Absolutely, and Johnny, you touched on that selection process of these yearlings. Are you constantly working on that and refining your skills there?
Look, we are. I suppose the biggest thing, Michael, is just looking at the horses and how their stallions and how their mares are producing progeny on the racetrack. So that's very important to us to keep up with the latest trends. If a horse like So You Think, has a really good month or two on the racetrack, obviously we elevate, our appreciation of his stock that are entered in the coming sales. But particularly for young sires, Michael, this year we've got a really good bunch of young sires: Flying Artie, Capitalist, Extreme Choice, to name but three, who have really hit the ground running. So once again, the market has really appreciated those horses. So unfortunately, they don't start running until the September, October of the previous year, and all the selections are pretty much made around September, October. So you've got to back your judgment, and fortunately, Capitalist was a horse we really backed strongly into our sales, and it's reaping some rewards today.
Well, Jonathan, you certainly know what you're doing, and I can vouch for that because way back when, in my first yearling purchase back in 1994, you were helping me with that one. So you've been with Inglis a long time.
From my recollection, Michael, we both had a lot more hair. But yes, no, look, you're right. I think that's one of the great things about the racehorse industry, at the thoroughbred industry. You do have these lifelong relationships, friendships, and it's great. We often catch up with the races, and I think that's as you go through the industry, you meet some great people, and the great thing is, no matter if you're a very wealthy owner or you're a strapper who goes to the races, occasionally with a horse, you're all equal on the turf, they say, and I think we see that here today. There's a lot of people here talking to each other, and they're of all different areas of the industry, but I think they love coming together on a day like today where they can see the horses being sold.
Well, there's no doubt your role is you're very versatile. You've got a number of different strings to your bow, let's say. But as an auctioneer, I love the theatre of the auctioneer, Jonathan. You're up there with that gavel. Do you get nervous? Do you get excited with these $2 million colts that you're selling?
Oh, look, for sure. You get nervous before any sale, but I think the responsibility being given to sell these horses on behalf of their breeders, it's something we don't take lightly. And there's been this enormous build-up. These horses have been here at our stables for about a week. We get agents and trainers and owners from around the world coming and looking at the horses, and the anticipation builds up, and everyone's very nervous this morning, going around talking to vendors, and they're trying to let us know what they would like to get for their horses. But it was great. I don't recall a better start to a sale. I think lot 5 made 2.1 million, so that really got things up and running. And I think people relaxed a bit after that. A lot of the energy sort of in the room was saying, oh, well, we're underway now. And I was fortunate enough to, I had 16 horses to sell on my first run. Every single one of them sold, which is very rare these days, to sell 16 in a row like that at the start of a sale. But you do get nervous, and but there's also adrenaline. Like, as we turn the page, we might be selling a horse for 150 and 250 and 350, and then suddenly you turn the page and there's a horse that you really think can make $1 million. Well, it does get pretty exciting.
And as an auctioneer, Jonathan, besides that adrenaline rush that you get, you've got a certain style. I mean, each auctioneer has their own little intricacies. Where'd you get yours?
Michael, I think it's probably something that I've taken a little bit from a lot of people. When I first started auctioneering, John Inglis, who we used to call the boss, he was the main auctioneer here, and then we had his two sons, his two nephews, Reg and Jamie, who were selling, and so I took a little bit from then. And then as we bought Dalgety Bloodstock, we inherited a man called Peter Hegney, who's been a great mentor to me over many years, Michael, and I think I took a fair bit from Peter Hegney. But listening to Joe Walls in New Zealand or listening to auctioneers overseas, I think you can always pick up different things. I followed a few real estate auctioneers around, Damien Cooley being one for about 12 or 18 months, and just picking up little things that he uses. So you've got to try and touch base with the breeder, with the person bidding on the horse, and just hopefully get your timing right, that you can eke out just another bit or two and hopefully make a bit more money for the breeder.
Well, I can say that from my point of view, if I'm watching in this great theatre, you're very eloquent, Jonathan. It's very, very easy to listen to, brother. So I'm just giving you a rap there.
That's very nice, Michael. Thank you.
Now, just touching on the ownership side of things, are you allowed to dabble in racehorse ownership?
We are, absolutely, and I think most of the office have raced horses. In fact, we often have a staff horse that we race. A few years ago, we went to Scone and spent $12,000 on a Dane Shadow filly who we raced with Barbara Joseph. We called her Fill the Page because the pedigree page, as you know, normally fills the entire page. Well, we called her Fill the Page because her pedigree only came halfway down the page. So it was either fill the page or room for notes. So we called her Fill the Page. And she won 5 or 6 races and won the Canberra Cup for us. So we had a lot of fun with her. And I've raced a few with the family. Raced a horse called None for the Road, who was a very popular horse, won a stakes race over in Adelaide. We bought him as a weanling. So no, look, we're certainly all allowed to race horses. Arthur Inglis is quite a major owner here in Sydney. He races, of course, Young Star and Fox Star and a lot of top class race horses. So most of us dabble, from time to time. The one thing that our staff aren't allowed to do is to breed horses or trade horses. It's just been a rule since I can remember starting with the company 34 years ago. We're not allowed to trade because that would be trading against our clients. So I think it's a good rule to have. It just means if we're selecting horses for a sale, we're selecting them without any conflict of interest.
Absolutely, Jonathan. And on a final note, what advice would you give to any prospective purchasers out there?
Oh, Michael, I mean, you've experienced it, from the highs of winning a race at Hawkesbury to the winning a race at Randwick to winning a Group 1 race as you have done. It is an unbelievable sport. I mean, it's a business for a lot of people who are transacting today, but for a lot of us, it's just a sport, and it's incredible. The thrill you get when you see your colours or a horse you've owned for, it doesn't matter if you've owned it for 5 minutes or owned it for 2 or 3 years, when your colours go across the line in first place and you're sharing that win with family and friends, it is an unbelievable feeling. I think deep down we're all, we all remember running around, as kids, trying to win, races at school or swimming or playing footy. Well, most of us can't do any of that now, but we're all a bit competitive, and so our horse goes out and runs for us, and that's the competitive edge that we're looking for in athletes. So it is an unbelievable thrill. It doesn't matter if you own 2.5% of a horse or if you own 30, 40, 50% of a horse. The thrill is still the same.
Doesn't matter where they win, you get that buzz, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it again at some stage.
There he is, one of the true gentlemen of the Australian turf, Mr. Jonathan Darcy. Jonathan, thank you for spending some time with us today at the stable.
Thank you very much. It's great to have you here, and look, hopefully, some of your viewers will, have the opportunity to pop out to Riverside at one of our sales in the future.
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Cheers, mate.